Alright, let's get this underway. Welcome everybody. Today our game is going to be... What side of the map are we going to be on? Who is going to be the player of choice today? Alright, you found it out, Cassiopeia.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Apparently my son wants to jerk around a little bit again, but it should be just fine. Cassiopeia going to be going up against an Italy. Now, we have updated summoner icons, but I do believe this game was from a couple days ago, so hopefully, fingers crossed, it does work. Now, I'm going to try to figure out Cassiopeia's Runes of Mastery. Right now, she has 7 AP, so I'm not entirely sure. It looks like she is running a little bit of extra armor and a lot of magic resist. Actually, this number seems fairly high.
30 seconds until
Also
the
starting with
spawn.
boots. Boots and potions. So looking to get in and chunk out Italy kind of immediately. The mana regen, we have a little bit, I guess, from the masteries as well. Has 4% armor magic penetration. So we are, what I'm going to assume is 19 points in the offensive tree. That's kind of what that speaks to me. And she also has, she's low on health, so I believe that she's 19 points
Minions have
offensive,
spawned.
and the rest, which would be 30, 11 in utility. Because I'm not exactly seeing any bonus health or anything, so I don't think she went terribly far into the defensive tree. But besides that, she's in here primed and ready to go with her Q, Noxious Blast. It's a pretty significant ability. The mana cost is very low. Get back to Cassiopeia, god damn it. You can see 35 mana, and I believe it's her mana cost will cost, yes, 10% less each stack. So, with 5 stacks, let's see, a blue buff, each stack, your mana cost is going to be 50% less. That Q is going to be costing only 17 mana. It's kind of ridiculous. And Cassiopeia, she can go for a Tear of the Goddess if she's looking to go late game, but at the same time, an Athena's Unholy Grail is also incredibly strong on her. But here's kind of the standard build path on the Snake Lady. You can go either Tear or Chalice into Athena's. Rylai's Crystal Scepter is actually phenomenal on her. Great item. It allows you to get off way more Qs and have them land because the slow does count as single target. I'm 99.9% certain. And then when you get the Twin Fang, which is actually here, I didn't get a chance to talk about that yet. For some reason she had to pick up Miasma first. But Twin Fang is her bread and butter. You land a Q, or you have your enemy run through a Miasma and get a little bit of a damage over time on there. A dot, if you will. And that'll allow her to churn out Twin Fangs. If you try to just throw out a Twin Fang, it will go to the max cooldown. That's without any debuffs on the target. But if they're debuffed by her Q, you can see right here Noxious Blast, or her W Miasma, she's going to be able to, every single Twin Fang, provided there's a debuff on the enemy, instant reset, instant reset, instant reset. And that, it can get pricey, but the damage value is so big. Oh, it's so big. So, right, if I were Cassiopeia right now, I would be looking to last hit.
First blood.
And I'd be looking to last hit with my auto attacks and then try to land Qs on Italy non-stop while churning out the Twin Fangs. Twin Fang, Twin Fang, Twin Fang, Twin Fang, Twin Fang, over and over. Say that 10 times fast. And now, another thing about Cassiopeia, which is pretty cool, you can choose to either do like the safe lane farm and safe harass. I was going to say item build, but ability choice build, where you can max out Q. You spam out Noxious Blast. It's very cheap. It pushes the waves very well, as we can see. Two of those Qs, 3 really, clear out a back wave right now. That's without any extra AP. We only have 10. Only 10 AP, a little bit of magic penetration. But the whole thing is we're looking to push Nidalee into the tower, because Nidalee is not good at farming under tower at all until she hits level 6. We're not exactly taking advantage of that right now, because Nidalee is actually doing pretty damn well. 19 farm to 17. Cassiopeia, without that Doran's Ring now, you can see the mana is getting a little bit weak. Getting very low in terms of mana. Actually, we're dead right now. Just taking a look at the gold. I wouldn't be surprised Cassiopeia tried to head back right about now. Shaco popping us out a little bit, but there's not going to be a kill there. If she decides to blow flash, I'd be surprised. Yeah, she's not going to blow flash. And so we have the boots and potions. And that's great, Cassiopeia. You want the little extra movement speed so you can keep closing the gap on your enemy and keep getting off the Noxious Blast, but we can see how quickly she can actually go through that mana pool without the passive passive mana return on last hit, as well as the passive mana regen on the Doran's Rings. But sitting on right now just over 800 gold, to me it's telling of a double Doran's Ring start, which is good. You can take double Doran's Rings and kind of ignore a Chalice. At the same time, she might just straight pick up a Chalice. We'll see what... Oh no, going for tier, so we're going for a late game oriented build. I don't exactly think that she's going to be going for the double mana build, which is Rod of Ages, Tear of the Goddess / Archangels, which will in turn turn into Seraphs. Let's speed this up a little bit. Hopefully the game doesn't crash. And now, as you're running back to the lane, these are just little details. The whole time we were running back, we got no stacks on the tier. The faster you get that tier up, the better. Because you're not going to hit your max potential of your build until you get that tier fully stacked. Now, I know people like to say the joke, tier fully stacked, yada yada yada, for like feelings and emotions and stuff, but you really do need to focus on getting that tier stacked. So if you're sitting here, not doing much of anything, there we go, spamming the Q, need to be spamming the Q on the back line. And when you see that you land a Q on Niddy like that, immediately turn on her, start tossing out Twin Fangs. You gotta force Nidalee out of lane. You gotta prevent her from getting that farm because she's dead even. And Nidalee that's even, I've said it so many times while casting, a poke comp that's even is going to do a significant amount of damage to their opponents. So you gotta make sure Nidalee gets behind. Now that she's level 6, it's gonna be way easier for her to farm, and that's what you're looking for her to do. Now, using Twin Fang the last hit, I think, is a very ballsy move. It's rather mana inefficient to last hit with that ability, unless you know that you're 100% going to miss. Ooh, I don't agree with warding that spot necessarily. If you have the ability, especially since this tower is just taking up your creep, you have a good 10-15 seconds when there's no creep, as we keep pushing this lane to run right up in here. Because Shyvana, she's not going to try to jump over a wall and gank you. If she does that, that's either her flash or her Dragon's Descent burn, which she just got right now. All you need to do is toss a word right here. And you can see, it appears that, did Shaco ward that? No, that's a green ward. You bought 2 wards, which is nice. That's going to be your totem ward. Is that... Oh, that's another regular ward. So, being generous on the warding, but you got to make sure that you make good use of those wards. It's better to have an early warning as to when that jungler is going to come, instead of being pushed and like, alright, I see them, but they're already here. Hopefully that makes sense. It's better to have an early warning system than to have it already be an issue and you have to back off and maybe flash. But at the same time, there's really no worries about being ganked by a Shyvana, especially when you are laning against the Nidalee. There's no CC there, unless Shyvana has red buff. So this lane should be way more dominant. At the same time, with you pushing the lane so hard, you should be telling your Shaco just never come mid. Unless Nidalee somehow finds a way to push the lane up, never go mid. We did see Nidalee head to the bottom lane. There's no reason to back right now. There is absolutely no reason to back. You've got enough mana regen that you can spam out a couple Qs per wave and push it like a good 2-3 more times. You can see Nidalee is just dancing around down here. She actually got very painfully low. So you're missing on a huge opportunity to pick up a ton of experience and deal a lot of damage to the tower. Gotta think about the consequences of your decisions. Because yeah, it's great you came back with a blasting wand, but you could have come back, you could have easily gone back and bought a blasting wand after pushing up, not missing a cannon wave. If you're thinking about going back after a creep wave just died, just here's what you do. I'm watching mid, I'm pushing the wave, If the wave dies, ready? Watch where my mouse goes. Bam! Watch this for the next wave to come. If you see a cannon come out, the cannon's going to be the first thing to pop out of that wave. If you don't see a cannon, free to go back. Or, since you have boots, the instant that last creep dies, back. Because then by the time you go back and buy, you should, with tier 1 boots, be just behind the creep, like maybe here, but you'll get to the lane just enough time before any of those precious, precious minions die and lose free gold. But anyway, Cassiopeia, let's keep an eye on what you are itemizing. For some reason I'm calling the abilities items. Whoa! Channel coming in. It was a pretty decent ult, actually. I believe you stunned Cassiopeia mid Dragon's Descent, but double buff's just a little too strong.
Shut down.
Getting the shutdown. decent, but at the same time, we're not going to be able to push this tower. I don't think he's going to be able to kill it quite yet. But I didn't get a chance to talk about Cassiopeia's ult, which we have already used clearly. And that's going to be the Petrifying Gaze. If the enemies are looking at you, think of like Medusa, if you know the tale of Medusa. It's the snake lady with nine heads, something like that. And if you look at her, if you look her in the eyes, you turn to stone immediately. That's kind of the same thing with Cassiopeia. If you look at her when she casts the ult, if you're looking at her, and she hits you with the ult, you get stunned for 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds. If you're looking away from her, you get slowed heavily. Is it 60%? 60%. Yeah, 2 for 2. That makes her kit so great in team fights. The only thing is, she needs to kind of get a bit of a lead, so she can get off a full combo before she gets nuked. She's a very squishy champion, which is another reason why Riley's is so good. She's rather immobile, unlike Gragas or Ziggs, Kha'Zix, Zed. She's even less mobile than Orianna, because Orianna has an on-command. She technically can be self-targeted movement speed boost, whereas Cassiopeia has to hit an enemy, has to hit an enemy champion to get that speed boost. That's not reliable. She has to hit with her Q, which is rather close range. So she's not terribly mobile, but she does provide huge amounts of burst and can rip through the enemy team no sweat. She's also one of the fastest Baron takers in the game, at least for an AP. There's the Twin Fang in conjunction with Noxious Blast. Does so much single target damage. I think someone did like a DPS test, and a 6-item Cassiopeia can do something to the tune of like 2100 DPS single target, and then you toss a Miasma, a multi-target Noxious Blast, and her Petrifying Gaze on the enemy team. You can start to see why her kit is so strong, so good at team fighting. But the only weakness is you can churn out those Twin Fangs. You churn through mana. Like you just decimate your mana pool unless you get a couple, like a mana item or two, like Tree of the Goddess. You can see is at 244 right now. Could be a little bit higher if we try to stack it, like sitting in the spawn. Free mana regen in the spawn, and on the way back, just Q as you're running Q. Watch the cooldown tier. Q up here. It's gonna take you a little bit longer to get back to lane, but think about it. You're gonna get, I'm gonna say like 9 or 10 stacks. And within just a tier right now, you get 4 mana each. Granted, it's only like 40 mana, but that's 40 less mana you have to worry about later on. Good thing your Shaco and Thresh are going to be. Whoa! That was the real Shaco too. And here's another thing. We're back. We picked up the Giant's Belt, so it looks like we will be working towards the Rylai's. What? Oh, Shenzo can just escape. He's going to get killed anyway. Why is he ulting Cassiopeia? Because he's getting killed. See, that's a pretty good reason. But now, let's look at this. You see Petrifying Gaze. Leona's looking at Cassiopeia. Wow. So there we go. Caitlyn picking up 2 kills. That's always a good thing. That's a good sign. Caitlyn, her ult is down. Not going to be able to pick off the Draven. But we now have 2 assists and a decent amount of farm. I'd say we've been trying to roam a tiny little bit, so being just 15 farm shy of 100 before like the 13-14 minute mark, that's pretty good. I'd say that you're on a good pace, especially since we're not pushing any sort of fast towers. If you're pushing fast towers, I'd say 60 farm would be a pretty decent achievement. But another thing, speaking of pushing fast towers, this tower should be basically dead with the whole Nidalee roaming thing that happened earlier. So remember, it's little decisions that make a huge impact later on. So like stacking the tier as you run up, pushing the waves with Nidalee not around, clearly envisioned like she was somewhere around this part of town. By having these little decisions in the first like 10 minutes of the game, I'd say even though games last so long, the game is pretty much decided. If you don't take into account big throws and really, really poor decisions, the game is decided within the first 15 minutes of the game. Maybe I can even argue the first 12. And so, if you're really looking to try to carry a game or improve on your win streaks, trying to gain elo, you need to really focus, first off, what am I doing in the first 12 to 15 minutes of the game? Am I making the right decisions? And so, right here, Thresh landed a beautiful hook, but we can't do anything about it simply because we're spamming Twin Fangs to clear the wave. So we have no mana, and we can't kill anybody. So oh, we're just going to simply rely on auto attacks, but Cassiopeia with 79 AD and 4% armor penetration, not going to be terribly effective in that department. I don't know about you, but... Oh, wow. Shaco running into the spear. Oh, wow. I can zoom out more. Go me. Much more map vision. You can't do this in the normal game, because this is not a normal... Wow! Spear from the shadows. They did. No one saw that. Italy did it kind of blindly. Well, at least for Cassiopeia and Thresh. But we're getting the turret down now, which is good. I'm not discrediting that. Your team now has 2 towers down, but that tower technically could have been down 3 to 4 minutes ago, which could have meant faster Rylai's. We can see Rylai's being picked up. It's a tremendous item on her. So if we're picking up a Rylai's in a tier, my guess would be that we're going to be getting a Liandry's at some point. Now I would probably like to have the faster Archangels before we get a full Liandry's. But another thing being magic penetration is tremendous on Cassiopeia. Her base values are actually really strong, and her scaling is really freaking good. So we should be getting a nice mix of AP and penetration, and that's what makes her such a beast in team fights and also in duels. I wish that Shaco would donate a blue buff. Nothing really doing that tournament. Oh, do not get close to Leona. Alright. A little bit too late. I wasn't keeping an eye on the cooldown on Petrifying Gaze. We can see right here, even with the Eclipse on Leona being up, you can see Eclipse rank 4 going to give her 57 magic resist. Cassiopeia kind of ripped through her. That's just the strength of Cassiopeia, man. Now another thing, if you're going to buy these potions, make sure you use them. You don't want to just wind up selling them because you've been sitting on them the whole game. If you want to have the most value out of everything that you do, you need to make sure you use it. It's kind of like if you don't use it, you lose it. Even though it's not really the case in the scenario I'm talking about, it's kind of true for LoL, where if you don't use the potions and do something after you use them, like, because you could be at no mana, and it's like, I'm going to pop a mana potion and then go back. Or I'm really low on health. I'm going to go way by my tower, pop a health potion, and go back. It's useless. You got to think about how you're allocating all that gold. If you're going to have potions, you got to use them to push waves, or you got to use them to try and team fight. In Cassiopeia, it's actually a good thing to keep a mana potion, a good idea to keep a mana potion on you, because once you start turning out like the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Twin Fang onto your enemy, you're gonna start to see it in your mana pool. Your mana pool's gonna be like, all right, I'm good. I'm at full mana. 2 to 3, maybe even 4 Twin Fangs later, it's, oh boy, I'm at half. This doesn't look too good. So like by the 2nd or 3rd cast, if you think that you're going to be pursuing your enemy and trying to secure a kill, bam, hit that mana potion button. So you don't have to worry about running out of mana nearly as much. So we're a little over halfway there on the tier. It's always good. I need to get over making a tiny little addendum to my overlay, so not everyone has to see the time. I don't want to spoil it, but at the same time, when you're watching the video, I guess to see the length of the video. Oh well. Oh no, Caitlyn DCing. We just gotta pretend like that didn't happen. But look at that, once more, spamming the twin bites. Twin Fang, Twin Bite, Twin Fang. My bad. My bad. I like calling it Twin Bite. I think that's Shyvana. Twin Bite. Yep. Whoops. And now, you see, if you had... Oh, there we go. Using the mana potion. We're getting good use out of it. Gold value. Always good. But now they're going to team fight. You have no mana, and I think... Yeah, your flash still isn't quite up. Once again, reverting back to auto-attacking and tossing out an occasional Noxious Blast. There's no need to focus you at all. They see that you are a non-threat. Simple auto-attacks because you're... Flash is up now, so... Yep, there we go. Going to flash over the wall. Oh well. Definitely a wasted summoner spell there. But at the same time, you don't want to donate kills to the enemy. This could have been way different if you're much more conservative with that mana. Much, much more conservative. Now we're going to head back. What are we going to grab next? It's going to be Sorcerer's Shoes. No, I don't want to talk to camera. It's going to be Sorcerer's Shoes. Yes, Sorcerer's Shoes. A little more mobility, but the big thing being the magic penetration. Like I was saying, she scales so well with Magic Pen. magic penetration builds actually are viable on her. They kind of fell out of favor on a lot of champions, but her base values are good enough. And the 3-item magic pen build: Abyssal, Sorcerer's Shoes, and Leandries / Haunting Guise. It gives her quite a bit of AP, and the magic pen is just enough that she can still be very bursty. The only thing is you got to pick up the likes of a Zonia's or a Death Cap to get some semblance of big AP in there, because otherwise, once you get past mid-game, you're going to be useless with a simple penetration build. So you can't exactly pick up the likes of Aurelius until your 5th or 6th item. Excuse me. Now we see here, a whole lot of health being picked up, and we only have 1 item with AP, so now we're starting a little bit behind. The Abyssal Scepter, Archangel Staff really needs to get completed now, because at the moment we're kind of just firing blanks, more or less. The Shyvana was barely taking any damage, Renekton was barely taking any damage. It's simply because our AP values at this stage of the game are so low. There's just a bunch of health. You don't even have much magic resist in the slightest on the enemy. This is good. Trying to come from behind. Trying to clean up enemy. Shyvana should be an easy kill, but you don't want to try to chase, because look at how squishy Cassiopeia is. Somehow not going down. Wow, I don't know how you didn't manage to die there. But you got very, very lucky. There's no need to donate a kill like that ever at all. We'll keep a bird's eye on our Cassiopeia friend. Fast forward just a little bit, and you know what I realized? I was kind of hovering my mouse all over the map, but I forgot that I'm using OBS right now. Last couple of videos have been in Fraps, and I had it set so you can see the mouse in OBS right now. I don't have it set so you can see the mouse cursor. And hopefully my point still got across. Now once again, we're low on mana, but also very low on health. Sitting on only 900 gold, just about 1,000. So I would not be shocked at all if we went back to pick up a Blasting Wand. So we can get that Archangels completed. Tear the Goddess, currently sitting on 568. Oh well, 568 stacks. So it's still not gonna be completed for quite some time. There you go, Blasting Wand. Now here's the issue. Here's the big issue. In 1,000-ish gold from now, we're gonna be completing that Archangel staff. But this is where we're getting to the point where magic is coming out. We can see Renekton, Spectre's Cowl, Italy, Athene's Unholy Grail. Leona is probably going to pick up, probably work towards a locket. She has the talisman completed. Maybe pick up a locket at the same time. Her Eclipse provides enough armor and magic resist, and she can also stack health. But a locket's always a good pickup on a Leona. Shyvana will probably work towards a Spirit Visage as well. Maybe a Banshee's Veil, but I doubt it. And so, after the Archangel staff, the whole point of what I'm saying is the next big thing is going to be a crap ton of magic penetration, meaning Void Staff. So we can't go a Haunting Guise. Haunting Guise is not going to provide enough in the means of magic penetration and AP. Yeah, it gives a little bit more health, but you need to get the raw magic penetration after the Archangels is done, because you're going to have a decent amount of AP. I'd say after the Archangels completed, you'll be sitting at 250 maybe? I may be a little generous in that department, but I think 250 might be a fair number. And then once you have the Void Staff completed, then you can maybe think about going Haunting Guise, Leandries. And look, even with the blue buff, you can see how expensive those spells really get. Not so much all the spells, but the Twin Fang. Twin Fang, not Twin Bite, Twin Bite. Like I said before, Shyvana's ability. So we're going to mosey on down to bottom lane. Dragon's about to come up, which even at this amount of health, I think potentially the Cassiopeia can still solo Dragon. And another thing, Cassiopeia with a Shaco and a Caitlyn potentially can really slaughter a Baron. Even though Shaco's a Tiamat. Tiamat not terribly great at fighting Baron. One of the jungler items would actually be way better, but it's not a huge issue. One, 0, and 3. Take a look at the goal. We do have enough for Archangel staff. We're going to try to push this tower, but Cassiopeia does not push towers very well. You actually can, if you're feeling very daring as a Cassiopeia, to get Lichbane, because it's very spammy, but the only thing is it's tough to lace in auto attacks considering how spammy her kit is. It doesn't even give her enough time to get off a clear auto attack animation, except in laning phase. Oh, just missing the stun component, and even still, we don't have enough damage to immediately nuke a Draven. For some reason, Draven having Blade of the Ruined King. So now, forcing to go back. Gonna hit buy. Hopefully we spend that 1,000 gold on Archangels right about now. We're not going to buy the Archangels, so we're still missing a substantial amount of AP at this point in time. Hextech Revolver, I don't know. Will the Ancients does give some mana regen, but the Spell Vamp I don't think is nearly as worth the raw damage you get from Cassiopeia, because at this stage of the game, the way the game works right now, you're not looking to sustain as an AP. You're looking to churn out as much damage as physically possible before you either get blown up or your team wins the fight. Hextech Revolver is delaying your build path in a tremendous way. It's nice to heal up off a creep, it's nice to heal up the champions, but you're easily the squishiest target there besides Caitlyn. Maybe Shaco, but at the same time Shaco has a means or two of escaping. Whereas you have nothing. Caitlyn has 90 caliber net and Thresh Shield. Shaco can deceive away. Shen can teleport, and also Shen just gets stupidly tanky like he is right now. Cassiopeia has a Rylai's and a flash every 5 minutes. So hopefully you're catching my drift as to what you should be doing with regards to items. Oh, Caitlyn trying to be a good friend, but that spear was not going to hit Cassiopeia. So, coming up on 30 minutes in, the farm level, we actually came a long way with the farm. I mean, generally speaking, one of the higher tier players would maybe be hovering around like 230 at this point in time if they're consistently farming 230, 240 while doing fights and taking dragons and whatnot. But 165 and helping your team start and trying to take objectives, good job. Spot on. You're not looking for an exact number when you're trying to farm. You need to assess the rest of your team and the rest of the enemy team. So right now, Nidalee at 144. To be quite honest, I would prefer you to be nice ultimate. That actually was a clear stun on 3 people. I don't think it caught Draven. Draven would have been way lower in health, I believe. But your goal should be to push Nidalee into her tower first, levels 1 to 5. Push, 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 push. Play her like you're playing against a Ryze or a Kassadin. Force her to expend every last cent of mana. Harass her heavily under the tower. Cassiopeia is very good under tower harassment because you land that Q, you get the movement speed bonus. You can back out and avoid any tower damage whatsoever, for the most part. So by doing that, I'm trying to hold in my yawn. By doing that, you secure yourself a 20, 30, 40 farm lead, and you just grossly outscale your enemy because you have an extra item, maybe even 2. And that's the strength of Cassiopeia. As you can see right now, we've delayed our build path in a big way. Will the Ancients is completed, but it's a pretty useless item, because like every spell in Cassiopeia's kit is AoE except for your Twin Fang. Yes, Twin Fang. Twin Fang. Gotta make sure I remember that. I mean, Twin Fang is a deliciously strong ability, don't get me wrong. But Spell Amp, I don't think is a priority stat on her in the slightest. Like, that Will the Ancients could have been a completed Archangels, as well as half of them. And if you think Cassiopeia
Purple
is
team's
strong with
turret
this
has
build
been
right now,
destroyed.
even if she had the Archangels completed,
Shut down.
imagine how strong she would
Purple
be
team
with the
double
ability to
kill.
actually burst down the enemy. Because we're enacting Spear Visage, Mercury Treads, Shyvana, a metric crap ton of health. She's actually ignoring magic resist because there's no need to. There's no need to pick up magic resist right now with Shyvana because you're essentially non-threatening once you've grabbed that Will of the Ancients with the Rylai's. Nidalee, no magic. She has a little bit of magic resist. She's got the Athenes. Athenes is a good early to mid game magic resist item. Kind of the only thing you need going through the mid game. I wouldn't be surprised if she went for maybe a Banshee's Veil. Maybe. At the same time, Nidalee's got to start working on the Void Staff as well. Well, potentially. There's no real magic resist on your team besides an Aegis and Merc Treads sitting on your Thresh right now. Where'd Cassiopeia go? There she is, hidden in the Thresh and Shen. I thought she walked off the platform. Oh no! That's not good. There's no ward on the Baron. That's going to be a free donation to the enemy team. So that 7,000 gold lead is going to get basically negated. All 5 members of the enemy team picking up Baron. So that's like 3,500 or 4,000 gold right there. So 3,000 gold lead, and then 300 gold for Baron Global for the enemy team. It's another 1,500. So that gold lead just went from 7,000 right now to like 1,800. I didn't do the exact math in my head. Clearly, it's definitely way off. But whole point is they just crushed that gold lead to nothing. Archangels is now complete and it's transformed into Seraphs, which is good. 325 AP. And we also have a blasting one, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that a Void Staff's coming out next. I really am. Because a Death Cap it's nice to see the big AP numbers. But you're not going to get out nearly as much damage, especially with the magic resist levels coming out. Shyvana did go for a Banshee's Veil. I could have sworn that she would go for a Spear Visage. But tomato, tomato. Banshee's Veil doesn't have mana anymore, so it's still a great item for a manaless champion such as Shyvana. It's actually an even better item now that doesn't have the mana stat for Shyvana and other manaless champions. It's kind of a nightmare when Singed bought Banshee's Veil. You get a ton of health with one item. Oh wow, that's one spear. One spear. I don't think it was even max range. It's close to it. Oh, wasted channel. So now there's no way you guys can engage. Unless you like get a beautiful hook on Draven or Nidalee. I'm going to speed through this a little bit more. It seems like the enemy team is really taking the upper hand, even though on the scoreboard it says 6,000 gold in favor of your team, the blue team. They're playing, and you guys are playing, like the purple team has a 3,000 to 4,000 gold lead. The Nidalee Spear is a little bit devastating. Just a little bit. So the box goes down, but it's not. Oh wow, nice! Petrifying Gaze on the Draven. That's exactly what you needed. Perfectly. What perfectly, just perfectly. Just deal with it. Don't ask questions. No, but that was a very nice ult. That couldn't have gone any better, unless you caught Nidalee at the same time and she took a tower shot or two. But catching Draven immediately ended that fight. There's nothing they can do after Draven goes down. So 3 minutes to go. Baron is getting close to coming off the enemy team, I believe. Did it just fall off? No, it's got another 40 seconds, 30-40 seconds. Once that's off though, then you guys can hard engage once more. Just be careful with those mana values. Be careful, you don't have a Void Staff yet. You can see Shyvana's basically taking no damage. Like 3 people leaning into her. But that's way better. Look at how much damage that Draven's taking. He's being forced to flash out of there, but Shaco's gonna clean up. Like the boss he is. Good job tanking the tower for your friendlies. And that actually might be the game. To be quite honest, I didn't expect a win on this, but we'll see. I could always be wrong. Always be wrong about this game being a win. I didn't expect it, but I like the way that you grouped up. The way you grouped up with your team, didn't try to focus on farming and pushing so you can get that very next item. But this game could have been way easier in your favor. For instance, like I'm kind of beating a dead horse at this point, but with Nitty roaming, pushing that tower, taking it down, because if your opponent is going to try to roam, you got to try to punish for it. You either punish them or you take a huge advantage somehow. That huge advantage is going to be farm, not backing while they potentially pick up a kill or two for their team and get everyone else snowballing. So we got a minute and a half left, I'm going to say, until you either get a final push or a surrender.
Blue team has slain the dragon.
What is our next item? Heading back to buy. That's not the button I wanted. 2,600. I guess it's a death cap. Yeah, we went for the death cap instead of a void staff. And quite honestly, I 100% believe that a void staff would be a better pickup right now. Let's just look at the magic resist levels of the enemy. 146, 124. Draven's at 75. He's not going to have anything in the near future. 140, 102. And there is no one on the Y button because that makes no sense. Because there aren't 6 players on the team. But anyway, the whole point being, there's over 3 members that have over 100 magic resist. And at that level, a void staff is 100% better than pick up a death cap. Magic penetration is better than raw AP at that point. Unless you pick up like another 400 or 500 AP. But I like what you're doing. You target whoever is in range. You're not gunning for a specific target. That's exactly what you need to do. So nicely done. To be quite honest, I'm not seeing a ton of play flaws. It's just there's certain things that definitely could have been done early on, which would have made this game way easier for not only yourself, but the rest of your team too.
Team's turret has been destroyed.
And as you get higher in elo, you're going to realize that there are way less things that you can make mistakes on, like just letting your opponent laner freely roam. Because if you don't punish them in some way, the enemy laners that you're going to be facing are just going to be better at roaming. They're going to be more experienced at it. They're going to know the appropriate opportunities when to go for a roam and snowball their team in that regard. So, with that being said, pretty good game. I was actually fairly surprised by the quality. I may have been a little bit off on the rating, but not the point. Hopefully this game was of the pointers that I gave in this game was of big value to input onto you. Actually, I don't even think I said your name, Juno Foxtrot. Thank you for the submission. I really do hope that I was of help, and in turn, you gain elo. If you're, let's say, bronze, I hope you hit high silver or gold. If you're silver, I hope you make your way to platinum. But anyway, with that being said, I'm going to stop. I think my laundry might be done as well. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. See you.